All right, are we ready to go?
Okay. I'm going to slide you slightly to the left here. Thank you.
Okay, very good. We've occasionally had trouble with our phone guests being able to hear people other than myself on the phone. So if you can each speak to Daoud Amitai, if you can say something to make sure he can hear you.
It's dinner time in Amman, right?
Yes, I am in Amman.
Yeah, but I said it's a dinner time.
It's, yeah, I suppose it's dinner time.
Okay, Jay, why don't you give him a try there?
How's the weather in Amman?
Oh, it's quite warm and nice and pleasant. No rain, lots of warm weather.
Oh, that sounds good.
Lovely. We're good to go then. Okay, and Mr. Etzioni, this... Palestinian progress, next on the line. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas visited the White House, where President George W. Bush praised his leadership. Mr. Bush promised $50 million in new aid to the Palestinian Authority to be used to build new housing in Gaza, where Israel plans to dismantle settlements. And Mr. Bush reiterated his commitment to the creation of an independent Palestinian state.
Mr. President, we will work with you to help realize the dream of a free and democratic Palestine, to bring greater freedom, security, and prosperity to all peoples in the region, and to achieve the lasting peace we all seek. Welcome back.
Mr. Abbas said that democracy and freedom were two sides of the same coin. The Palestinians lack freedom, Mr. Abbas said, and that will weaken the democratic march. What progress has been made toward a free and democratic Palestine? I'll ask my guests. Jay Carney, Deputy Washington Bureau Chief for Time Magazine. Amitai Etzioni, University Professor at George Washington University and author of the book From Empire to Community. And joining us by phone from Amman, Jordan, Daoud Kutab, columnist for the Jordan Times and the Jerusalem Post. Welcome and thanks for joining us today. Jay Carney, what did President Bush want to accomplish with the visit by Mahmoud Abbas to the White House?
I think he needed to give President Abbas essentially a little boost, a little assistance. He's been somewhat embattled in his own efforts since he took over in Palestine, in the Palestinian territories, and has been bad-mouthed essentially in the Israeli press and by Israeli government officials as being weak-willed and not really making the effort necessary to crack down on terrorism, to take the steps that the Israelis demand to move the peace process forward. So it was a full embrace by President Bush, an important one that came with $50 million attached to it. So I think he was all designed to give Mr. Abbas a boost both at home and internationally with the Israelis.
Daoud Kutab, are you there by phone? Yes. Do you think that that President Mahmoud Abbas needed a boost, and did he get it?
Yes, I think there was an importance for a Palestinian leader to be seen visiting the White House since President Bush became president. no Palestinian official has stepped foot in the White House. So it was important to have that public declaration of support for the Palestinian cause and the issues that President Bush has stood for. I think it was also important, as your guest has said, that to put an end to this Israeli claims, which were completely untrue, that Mahmoud Abbas is not doing enough to stop and to bring quiet to the region. And I think President Bush, based on the recommendations of his own general, who is observing the situation, gave praise to Mahmoud Abbas's security activities as well.
Amitai Etzioni, to what extent do you think that this was meant to speak to Palestinians, this meeting, and to what extent was it meant to speak to Israelis?
Let me just say one thing very briefly. Anything we can do to keep the peace going and stop the bloodshed, it should be done. It's for those of us who live in the region, it's a wonderful breather to see, even, just a few months even, of next to no killing. But I don't think the statement that the Israeli press were bad mouthing Mahmoud Abbas, or is, quote, completely untrue, that he is not being able to discharge his mission. I think to some degree unfair because he's unable to, and it's not a question that he's weak in of will. I think there are some objective factors here, and this is really in the end what will. There are many factors in here, but in the end, they'll live or die by the following question: really be able to control their militant groups or terrorists, whatever you want to call them. As we speak, there are factories in Gaza building rockets as quickly as they can. They're obviously going to use this armistice or peace period to build up, train, and organize people. There have been 3 incidents in the last week of they're recruiting 15-year-old and 16-year-olds with a suicide belt to try to enter Israel despite the declarations. Now, there are hardheads on the Israeli side too, maybe even the same number, about maybe 30% of the population, but there is an effective government in Israel. And if the Israeli government decides to evacuate Gaza, they're going to be fuss or demonstrate, but it will be able to deliver. I doubt very much, in fact I'm quite sure, that however good his intention, I don't doubt his intention at all of Mahmoud Abbas, that he does not have what it takes, he doesn't have the security forces to dismantle the terrorists. And therefore the hope that because they become involved in politics they will give up their arms is a long shot, and one we all aspire to, but I'm afraid it's not going to happen.
Well, Jay Carney, what is the